He built a better life for himself after tragedy.
He actually saw his father get murdered. He went into law enforcement to put a closure to that.
He found comfort by helping others.
He had a huge sense of family. He loved the togetherness of family. He just had this joyful spirit about himself.
A new love seemed to be the final piece of the puzzle.
It was more than just friendship.
It was a whirlwind romance.
But a vicious crime ended their future together.
She saw him laying there in a pool of blood.
He didn't deserve this.
Was this a crime of opportunity?
All of the rooms had been ransacked.
They think he walked in on a robbery.
Erica, what are you doing?
Or was his killer driven by a personal vendetta?
So you gonna go back?
She had an ex who was back in the picture.
There was always a concern, was there some type of revenge involved in this?
You always have a choice. Just remember there's always consequences.
January 29th, 2016. It's a Friday afternoon in Pembroke Pines, Florida, a peaceful and diverse suburb of Miami.
Pembroke Pines is a beautiful place. Crime is very low.
It's a multicultural area, has a lot of people of Caribbean descent.
Around 5 o'clock, Barbara Drummond arrives at her son's apartment complex to check on him after learning he didn't show up for work that day.
Her son was 40-year-old Davion Hall, who worked as a corrections officer at the Miami-Dade County Jail.
Barbara initially suspects her son may have just slept through his alarm.
I saw his car, and I'm like, but his car is here.
Dave, are you in there?
I didn't hear an answer. So something said to me, try the door. So I pushed the door, and it was not locked.
Right inside the apartment, Davion's mother is met with a horrifying sight.
When she walks in, she sees him laying face down.
Dave!
It was like he just walked in and he had his exercise bag still on his back. So I'm thinking that I wonder if he passed out.
As Barbara takes a closer look, her worst fears are realized.
I'm looking to see some kind of breathing, and I saw nothing. I said, wow, I think my son is dead. I started bawling, and I'm like, oh God, what am I to do? What am I to do?
Barbara shakily pulls out her phone and begins dialing.
I call 911 and I'm talking. Of course, I'm crying.
Somebody help me, please.
She was screaming and screaming.
Help me, please.
It was blood-curdling.
As Barbara tries to regain her composure, she can only imagine how her beloved son ended up this way.
I'm confused. My mind is gone all over.
Originally from Jamaica, Davion Hall had immigrated with his family to the suburbs of Miami, Florida, when he was just 6 years old.
His father's family were already here, and we came because we thought it would have been a better opportunity here for so many things.
Growing up in South Florida's diverse immigrant community, Davion learned to tackle any challenge life threw at him.
He was always smiling, loving, but very, very energetic. He had a huge sense of family. He loved the togetherness of family.
But after just a few happy years in Florida, Davion's family was ripped apart by tragedy.
He actually witnessed his father being murdered.
It was a home invasion, and he was there.
Davion was just 10 years old at the time.
At such a young age, Davion learned that some killers escape justice.
Police never found his father's killer.
I think it traumatized him to a certain degree, and it was something that he feared.
But in his adulthood, Davion turned that fear into action.
After coming home from college, Davion became a corrections officer.
He was a very good officer. He took care of his unit and he managed his inmates very well.
I think that his interest in law enforcement stemmed a lot from his father being killed as a way to cope with what happened.
I think he went into law enforcement to put a closure to that.
Working in law enforcement wasn't the only way Davion served his community.
As busy as he was, he still found the time to mentor young men.
He took on basketball coaching, which is a great leadership position.
Where he lived, there were a number of Black young men there, and they didn't have a father in the household.
He was a great role model for them and showed them career paths they could take to better themselves.
But even though Davion stayed busy with his work and mentorships, he still tried to make time for love.
I think Davion knew that he was very attractive. He was a handsome guy.
He was a single man. He had a good career. He had a lot of whatever the ladies were attracted to.
He had his pick of the ladies.
In early January 2016, one particular woman caught Davion's eye.
When he moved into his apartment in Pembroke Pines, he noticed that he had a neighbor that was very attractive.
Her name was Erica Brooks.
Hello. I'm Dave. I just moved in.
I'm Erica. Welcome to the neighborhood.
They had taken some sort of interest in one another, a liking in each other.
The sparks were almost immediate.
We should hang out sometime.
Yeah, I love that.
The relationship quickly progressed to the next level.
And it was getting pretty serious, even after only dating each other for a few weeks.
But unfortunately, the couple's budding relationship would be cut short. On January 29th, Davion's mother has just found her son unresponsive in his apartment.
911 receives a call from Davion's mother, frantically screaming in the phone, saying that she thinks that her son is dead.
Help me, please. It was just a shock.
Within minutes, first responders arrive on the scene.
Once EMT arrived, they did confirm that Davion was deceased.
Davion Hall was shot.
And as police begin processing the scene, it will become abundantly clear that this was no accident.
The entire apartment had been ransacked.
There was most likely a robbery taking place. They panicked and they shot him.
In the winter of 2016, everything was going right for Miami area corrections officer Davion Hall.
He's a man that enjoyed life, handsome, smart.
He's got himself a new apartment and a very pretty neighbor.
What you got going on here?
He and his neighbor, Erica Brooks, had hit it off and quickly started dating.
But on January 29th, police have responded to Davion's apartment after a chilling 911 call from his mother, Barbara Drummond.
Somebody help me, please.
She found Davion unresponsive in his apartment.
We have one deceased male, start major crimes, and medical examiner.
Investigators are quickly able to determine the cause of death.
They can see that he's been shot at least 4 times.
One shot was in his torso, the rest were around his neck and face.
He was still in his gym clothes, and he actually still had his gym bag on his shoulder.
They suspect that whoever killed Davion surprised him when he returned home from the gym between 12:30 and 1:30 p.m.
Definitely looks like he got ambushed right as he came through the door.
Police surmise that whoever shot Davion made sure to cover their tracks.
What do you got? We haven't been locating any shell casings inside or outside.
That means the shooter must have took it with them or used a revolver to commit the crime.
There are also signs that the killer tried to destroy forensic evidence.
Look at that.
They noticed right away that just a few feet from Davion's body is a bottle of bleach.
That indicates the killer tried to clean up the crime scene.
And as investigators continue processing the scene, a possible motive comes into focus.
The apartment had been ransacked.
Things are pulled out of the drawers. You can tell that it's been gone through.
So it looked like somebody was searching for something.
Could Davion have stumbled across a burglar in the act?
There weren't any signs of forced entry to the door, but all other signs point to some sort of an intruder.
There was most likely a robbery taking place, and he just happened to get home while the robbers were there. They panicked, and they shot him.
The theory is reinforced when detectives interview Davion's mother, Barbara.
I'm sorry I have to tell you this, but your son was shot multiple times.
Barbara also believes the crime had to have been the result of some sort of robbery attempt.
Did he happen to have anything that was particularly valuable?
He had guns.
We are talking a large gun collection, not just his service weapons, but he also had an AR-15.
He would mention that his father wasn't able to protect himself. So he always felt like, even in his home, he would show me, like, tell me, like, hey, you know, I keep a gun here, I keep a gun here, you know, just in case. But the way that he passed was similar to the way that he lost his father. So it was very eerie.
Instead of providing protection, had Davion's guns gotten him killed?
The only thing that was taken were his collection of guns.
Whether this was a random or targeted attack, it sounds like those guns were exactly what the intruder were after.
But who took them? Barbara assures detectives that her son didn't have any enemies.
If he had any beef with anybody, he would have told me about it.
He didn't mention anything when I talked to him on the phone. His mother had just talked to Davion the day before. She indicated that he was happy.
He seemed to be his normal self. Didn't seem like anything was concerning him or bothering him.
Despite what Barbara says, detectives wonder if perhaps Davion's work as a corrections officer could have something to do with his death.
His job put Davion in direct contact with some of the worst criminals in South Florida.
Could this be some kind of grudge from work?
The detectives assure Davion's mother that they won't rest until her son's killer is brought to justice.
Detective Katz said, Miss Drummond, I am going to find who killed your son. He's one of us, and we're going to solve this.
But before detectives can continue their investigation, one of Davion's neighbors approaches them.
She said she heard some sort of loud altercation coming from Davion's apartment about a week before he was shot.
Erica, what are you doing?
She noticed raised voices and the woman who was very agitated and upset and shouting, and then ultimately the woman stormed out.
The neighbor says the woman was Erica Brooks, who also lives in the complex.
It had become pretty common knowledge around the apartment complex that Davion and Erica were dating.
They flirted with each other. They clearly enjoyed being with each other. They started sort of a whirlwind romance.
And now detectives wonder, did this whirlwind turn into a violent tornado?
It's possible that the argument between Erica and Davion had something to do with his murder.
Detectives needed to find Erica Brooks right away.
Homicide detectives in Pembroke Pines, Florida, have just learned that shooting victim Davion Hall had gotten into an explosive argument with his new girlfriend, Erica Brooks, just 1 week before his untimely death.
The timing is certainly suspicious.
And she lives right there.
So now detectives are curious and they want to talk to this Erica. Maybe she has some answers.
Unfortunately, getting a hold of Erica will be easier said than done.
They knock on her door, no answer. They call, it goes to voicemail. Erica is nowhere to be found.
But detectives do make another discovery that piques their interest.
There were surveillance cameras around the building.
Definitely need that footage.
They were able to obtain the camera footage from the apartment complex manager.
The next morning, detectives begin poring over the footage. The video shows 2 men walking in the direction of Davion's apartment just moments before police believe he was murdered.
They both had very distinct clothes on, which was captured on surveillance cameras.
One was wearing a red hoodie, one was wearing a black hoodie. Their faces were obscured.
After the 2 men walk out of frame in the direction of Davion's front door, they don't appear anywhere else in the surveillance.
They must have left in the other direction away from the camera.
Could these 2 mystery men be Davion's killers?
Detectives are once again wondering if Davion could have been the victim of a couple of angry cons who knew where he lived.
We had a corrections deputy that was found deceased, and we had concerns as to, was this something that was related to his job?
Detectives give Davion's supervisor at the correctional facility a call.
They want to know, was there some type of run-in maybe with an inmate where there was a history there?
But Davion's supervisor tells detectives that Davion had an excellent reputation with the inmates.
He wasn't one of those officers that came in and ruled with an iron fist. He was more calm and laid back with the inmates.
He was known for being fair and firm. Just like he mentored people in the community, he also mentored the inmates.
Davion's supervisor says Davion was cautious with the inmates too.
He said that there's absolutely no way that Davion would let the inmates know about his gun collection.
After speaking with Davion's supervisor, detectives feel like they're back at square one.
They still have no leads as to who the 2 mystery men are in the surveillance video or who would have wanted to target Davion.
But they catch a break when Davion's girlfriend, Erica Brooks, finally surfaces.
Detectives, Erica Brooks to see you.
Okay.
Detectives wanted to speak to Erica after learning that she and Davion had gotten into an argument the week earlier.
Erica apologizes for not contacting them sooner.
She says a friend at the apartment complex told her about Davion's death the night before when she got home from work, and that the police were wanting to speak with her.
She's distraught. She's confused. She's concerned. She's in disbelief still.
Honestly, it just doesn't seem real.
Can you tell us about your relationship with Davion?
There's not much to tell. We've been hanging out the past few weeks.
What Erica explained to us was that it was a short relationship that started back in the beginning of January. She had become friendly with Mr. Hall to the point where she would go over from time to time, and their relationship started to build.
I wasn't looking for anything serious, but I liked him a lot.
She was a little hesitant. She couldn't deny the attraction.
When detectives press Erica, she adamantly denies any involvement in Davion's death. So they confront her about the argument that she allegedly had with Davion a week earlier.
Sounds like you two got pretty heated. Well, I had to tell him something that he wasn't too happy about.
And that's when Erica drops a tantalizing new lead.
Turns out, Erica was still involved with an ex-boyfriend, 29-year-old Brian Fairweather.
Erica reveals he had been so abusive towards her and so dangerous that she had to take out an order of protection against him.
Is it possible that Brian found out about Erica's relationship with Davion and exacted his revenge?
Investigators have just learned some surprising new information in the murder of corrections officer Davion Hall. Erica Brooks, the woman Davion was dating right before his death, says her ex-boyfriend, Brian Fairweather, is still in the picture.
Erica says that she and Brian had a very complicated relationship.
It scared me.
There was a history of abuse between Brian and Erica. Erica was so fearful of Brian that she, in fact, had obtained a restraining order.
I got the restraining order in October, and I asked him to move out.
Do you think he wasn't respecting the order?
He said he wanted to get back together, but I told him I wasn't interested in that because I was seeing Davion.
However, Erica tells detectives that she was willing to try to make their split more amicable.
I agreed to remove the restraining order.
As soon as the restraining order ended, he was there knocking on Erica's door.
Gonna stay overnight?
She didn't turn him away. She let him come in and she let him spend the night. That sort of formed a uncomfortable love triangle between her, Brian, and Davion.
Davion wasn't too happy when he found out Brian was back in the picture. He was pretty mad about it. That's why we argued.
Erica, what are you doing? Everything's been going so great between us.
I know, Dave, but you have to understand, me and Brian have history.
Erica and Davion had only been dating for a few weeks, and they decided that it was best for them to part ways.
But they still saw each other around the apartment complex and remained friendly, which Erica claims didn't sit well with Brian Fairweather.
Brian didn't like it one bit. He got really, really angry and upset about it.
When Brian gets like that, you don't know what he's gonna do.
What do you mean?
According to Erica, Brian confronted Davion about the relationship.
Can I help you?
The day prior to the homicide, they had a conversation. There was some concern that things were going to escalate.
He told him in no uncertain terms that Davion was to stay far, far away from Erica.
Newsflash. We getting back together, so stay away from him.
Whatever, man. You can have.
That same night, Brian was back at Erica's place.
The last time Brian had stayed over Erica's apartment was the night before the homicide.
He was still asleep when I left for work that morning and was gone when I came back.
Erica says that she hasn't seen Brian since, but they did speak on the phone after she learned of Davion's death.
Erica admitted that this phone conversation with Brian gave her a bad feeling and that he said some pretty disturbing things.
He was angry. He started talking about snitches and stitches and stuff like that. It scared me.
So do you think Brian could be responsible for what happened to Davion?
I don't know for sure Brian was involved in Davion's murder, but I think it's definitely possible.
Erica's story seems believable, but detectives also need to get Brian's side of the story, and they ask Erica to help.
The detectives have Erica call Brian.
When Erica tells Brian she's been talking to detectives, he appears unwilling to cooperate at first.
And he's very reluctant about coming to the police precinct.
Detectives told Erica to tell Brian it would be to his benefit to come in willingly.
Listen, Brian, you're just going to make things more difficult for you if you refuse to speak with him.
Okay.
Eventually, Brian agrees.
Ultimately, I was able to meet with Brian, who voluntarily came to our police department where he spoke to us.
Detectives noticed that Brian does fit the height and build of one of the men from the surveillance video from outside of Davion's apartment.
But Brian denies having anything to do with Davion's death.
I wasn't involved in that whatsoever.
He admits that he and Davion had a discussion about Erica, but says it wasn't a big deal.
He tells police it wasn't a heated argument. Brian explained to Davian how he was rekindling his relationship with Erica, and he says Davian agreed to back off.
Listen, we were talking, and everything was cool.
He denies that he got angry, but we felt there was definitely some type of conflict that took place.
I wasn't even there that morning.
Well, Erica said that you were.
He was still asleep when I left for work that morning.
According to Erica, Brian had spent the night and was still there when she left for work the following morning.
I left pretty soon after she did, so she didn't see me leave.
His story just isn't really adding up, and he seemed to have a motive for wanting to harm Davian.
Brian Fairweather becomes immediately the #1 suspect in this case.
However, detectives will need more than mere suspicion to prove their hunch correct.
They didn't really have any solid evidence against him aside from Erica's statement.
Investigators are forced to let Brian go for the time being.
They needed to find proof that he was one of the men in the surveillance video.
But as detectives continue building their case against Brian, a young man comes forward who changes the entire course of the investigation.
Name is Jermaine Smalls.
He said he had some information that he thought was relevant to the investigation.
Come on in, Jermaine. Have a seat, please.
According to Jermaine, a friend of his made a shocking confession 3 days ago.
His friend told him that he had been involved in the murder of a corrections officer.
That friend was 21-year-old O'Keefe Sinclair.
But who is O'Keefe Sinclair? And why would he want Davion dead?
They were just beginning to unravel what really happened to Davion Hall.
Florida police investigating the murder of 40-year-old Davion Hall now have a new suspect in their crosshairs, 21-year-old O'Keefe Sinclair.
O'Keefe's friend, Jermaine Smalls, told police that O'Keefe actually confessed to him about killing a corrections officer one day after Davion's body was discovered.
But what is O'Keefe's connection to Davion? And why would he want him dead?
Jermaine says O'Keefe and Davion lived in the same apartment complex, but he really doesn't know much more about what happened.
It's O'Keefe, and he lives in apartment 3B.
Detectives know they need to speak with O'Keefe immediately. After wrapping things up with Jermaine, they track O'Keefe down and bring him in for questioning.
I was able to meet with Mr. Sinclair, who voluntarily came to our police department.
At first, O'Keefe denied any culpability into knowing anything that happened to Davion.
I really don't even know the guy. I just saw him around the complex sometimes.
But when detectives confront O'Keefe with what his friend Jermaine told them, he starts to change his story.
Okay, yeah, I was there. But I swear I just thought we were going to steal the guns and go.
According to O'Keefe, the whole thing wasn't even his idea.
O'Keefe claims he was just helping out an old friend, 29-year-old Brian Fairweather.
Detectives perk up at the mention of the name Brian Fairweather. They suspected Brian's involvement in Davion's death since speaking with his ex-girlfriend, Erica Brooks.
According to O'Keefe, Brian had originally come to him about a plan to make some quick cash.
He knew that Davion had an extensive stash of guns at his apartment, and O'Keefe had recently fallen on hard times.
O'Keefe was struggling to make rent and running the risk of becoming homeless, so he agreed to Brian's plan of robbing Davion.
I was just really desperate at the time, and it seemed like an easy way to make some money.
They went there that morning to steal the guns. Their intention was to break into the apartment, but when they got there, they found that the door was already unlocked.
But O'Keefe says after collecting Davion's gun stash, Brian wasn't ready to leave just yet.
Brian changed the plans, and instead of just stealing the guns and leaving, he wanted to wait for Davion to come home.
No.
Why did Brian want to wait in the house for Davion?
To confront him.
About what?
I honestly don't know. He didn't say.
O'Keefe says the whole thing was starting to make him uneasy.
After they had grabbed all the guns, he decided to go outside and act as a lookout.
O'Keefe tells detectives that just a few minutes later, Davion returned.
He watched Davion go inside the apartment.
And according to O'Keefe, he heard gunshots ring out seconds later.
O'Keefe claimed that this startled him, and he ran back towards the apartment to see what happened.
Davion was on the floor dead, and then Brian was trying to clean up.
Oh, well, man, just help me.
O'Keefe admits that he started helping Brian try and cover up their tracks.
They used bleach they found in the home to scrub all fingerprints.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
After that, they took the guns and left.
And you didn't think to ask what was going on inside while you were waiting and why Davion was laying on the floor?
No. It all just happened so fast. But it's clear to me that Brian was the one who shot Davion.
According to O'Keefe, he actually sold a .38 revolver to Brian a few months earlier, and he suspects that's the gun Brian used to shoot Davion.
This matched up with the bullets that had been taken from Davion's body.
But can detectives really trust O'Keefe's account? Whether he fired the fatal shots that killed Davion or not, O'Keefe is still culpable in the murder and cover-up.
They go ahead and place O'Keefe under arrest and prepare to bring Brian Fairweather in for another round of questioning.
Before taking Brian into custody, detectives decide they need a little more ammo against him.
They decided to subpoena his phone records.
What the police find from the phone records is that the two men texted and called each other 49 times on the day that Davion was killed.
GPS records from their phones also put both men in the apartment complex right around the time of the murder.
Detectives also speak with another resident of Davion's apartment complex who confirms seeing Brian there that day and says he was wearing a black hoodie.
That would be consistent with the surveillance video of the two men walking toward Davion's apartment.
Not to mention that Erica had said that Brian was there that morning when she left for work.
With this arsenal of new evidence in tow, detectives sit down with Brian Fairweather a second time.
Okay, Brian, we've spoken with O'Keefe Sinclair, and he told us everything. He's claiming that you are the one that shot Davion Hall.
What?
But Brian isn't budging.
Even when they present Brian with the evidence proving he was at the complex the morning of the murder, he still denies everything.
Listen, I had nothing to do with this, all right? O'Keefe shot Davion, and he's trying to blame it on me.
Despite Brian's accusations, police have what they need to charge him with first-degree murder. But with neither Brian Fairweather nor O'Keefe Sinclair copping to the crime, will Davion Hall's killer ever be brought to justice?
It still wasn't entirely clear which man fired the fatal shots that killed Davion.
Prosecutors had a long road ahead of them.
In the spring of 2016, police have charged Brian Fairweather and O'Keefe Sinclair with first-degree murder for the shooting death of 40-year-old corrections officer Davion Hall.
Sinclair says that all of this was Brian's idea. He said that Brian approached him about breaking into the apartment.
Seemed like an easy way to make some money.
According to O'Keefe, Brian was the one who shot Davion.
I had nothing to do with this, all right?
However, Brian continues to deny any involvement in the crime.
Brian said O'Keefe must have been the one who killed Davion and is trying to pin it on him.
With neither of the men fessing up, it's now up to investigators to try to determine what really happened that fateful afternoon.
Can I help you?
Investigators believed that Brian Fairweather was angry about the fact that Davion was trying to have a relationship with Erica, who he was trying to reestablish a relationship with.
They surmised Brian lured O'Keefe into helping him teach Davion a lesson with the promise of making money off the stolen guns.
When Davion returned home from the gym that afternoon, one of the two men fired the fatal shots.
Investigators couldn't say for sure which one of them did it, but it still made both of them culpable in what happened.
But as prosecutors prepared to argue this theory at trial, they received word from Brian's attorney that he'd like to speak with them.
So Brian met with the state attorney as well as with his legal team, and it was decided at that time that Brian was going to cooperate in the investigation.
Brian finally admits to his involvement in Davion Hall's death,
I didn't kill him.
but claims he wasn't the one who pulled the trigger.
Brian revealed to us that Mr. Sinclair was the gunman. He was the individual that pulled the trigger.
For Brian's cooperation, the prosecutors agreed to let Brian plead to the lesser charge of manslaughter and drop the first-degree murder charge.
In consultation with Mr. Fairweather's legal team, it was agreed upon that he was going to receive 9 years in state prison with his cooperation.
The state attorney had a discussion with me, and she said because they don't have any strong evidence on Brian, they will have to do a plea bargain, because it's better to do that than for him to just go and set free. So I said, that's fine with me.
I'm not satisfied with the sentence for him. It doesn't bring Dave back. He gets out, Dave is not here any longer.
With Brian Fairweather's cooperation, prosecutors feel more confident securing a conviction against O'Keefe Sinclair.
Prosecutors' game plan is to present the jury with Brian's version of events.
But O'Keefe's defense team argues that Brian's testimony shouldn't be believed.
The defense tries to convince the jury that it was really Brian who was the mastermind behind this entire crime.
The defense team says he's the one who pulled the trigger.
However, the jury sides with the prosecution.
Sinclair is found guilty of first-degree murder.
Mr. Sinclair was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole.
As for Brian Fairweather, he's set to be released in 2024.
I'm disappointed because I believe this entire situation, he's the brain behind why all of this occurred. Whether he pulled the trigger or not, he was there.
For Davion's friends and family, no punishment can make up for the loss of their loved one.
The ultimate justice would have been my brother being alive, and nothing can change that.
I had to come to a place where I had to consciously say to myself, let it go, forgive them. That is what Dave would like to see.
Here he still has a legacy. We're going to continue to carry that.
In fact, Davion's mother has created a foundation to keep that legacy alive.
The Davion L. Hall Foundation was created to continue his passion of serving his community through the mentorship of at-risk youth.
It's about fostering the right environment so young men can learn and grow and become the men that we need them to become.
If I can just touch one life at a time, and that's my goal and my vision. Save one child, because I'm sure if O'Keefe had something like this and he was willing to be a good steward, he wouldn't have taken my sons.
Nothing meant more to her than family.
She was as close to her mother and her daughter as anyone could be.
They did everything together.
Until the life they built goes up in smoke.
They said that 3 bodies was in the truck.
Was it a tragic accident?
The kerosene heater turned over.
Or was it murder?
There was no smoke in their lungs.
The search for answers will reveal a brutal past.
They say he was beating her real bad.
She pulled up her coat and showed me the bruises.
I don't know how anybody could be so evil.
And before it's over, there will be one more body.
This won't ever the ending that we wanted.
He never said he was sorry.
It's such a senseless act, and it didn't have to happen.
December 18th, 2016. It's a silent night in Gladys, Virginia, just 1 week before Christmas in this rural town south of Lynchburg.
It's an itty-bitty little spot on the map.
There's nothing much there to do. If you blink your eye, you want to go right on through it.
The Gladys community is not a very large one, and so most people know each other there.
But at 2:37 that Sunday morning, there's a frantic 911 call from one of the area's rural roads.
County 911. My lady's house is on fire right now.
Martell Wooding tells the operator that he believes 3 people are trapped in a burning trailer.
The whole house.
Martell was panicking. He said the whole place was going up in flames.
Martell has a good reason to panic.
On the phone with dispatch, he's saying my baby girl is in there. I think my baby girl is in there. The operator told him not to try to enter the house, that it was too dangerous.
But Martell says he's going in anyway.
I have to go in there. I have to go in there. My daughter is in there.
He forced the door open and he called out to the people inside.
Oh,
The heat and the smoke was so bad that he couldn't even get through the door.
Can't get nobody out of the bathroom. I can't get nobody out.
Somewhere inside the burning trailer are 28-year-old Francesca Lane, her daughter, Kadriana, and her mother, Lynn Callahan. As first responders arrive on the scene, the clock is ticking.
It doesn't take long for a fire to completely engulf a house. Every second counts.
Just let the fire department do their job.
Oh, my God.
Francesca Lane's family had deep roots in the soil of Southwest Virginia.
We used to run through the field to grandma's, and that's where we helped work in the gardens and go on the back porch and hoe peas and shell corn. That was every Sunday ritual for our family.
Francesca was energetic, couldn't hold still, into everything. She was just precious.
But a dark shadow loomed over her childhood.
Francesca was the victim of child sexual abuse.
Her stepdaddy molested her, but nobody knew about it for years.
One day, Francesca come to my daughter and was telling her what was going on. And so I went straight to the police department and told them. And at that time, he was arrested.
With her abuser in prison, Francesca tried to put the ordeal behind her.
I used to always tell her, regardless of what you go through when you're young, it's your choice to change it or not.
And as Francesca got older, the trauma she'd endured faded into the past.
I don't think I ever seen anybody that ever met her that disliked her. She was fun, outgoing, full of energy.
She was always chasing after some little hard-headed boy.
When she was 21, Francesca had a baby, a daughter she named Kadriana.
Kadriana changed Francesca because she had a little bit of wild ways, like most of us do, but it changed her.
Now her daughter always came first.
She wanted to give Kadriana everything that she did not have. She wanted to make sure that she was the provider.
On top of raising her daughter alone, Francesca held down jobs at 2 different restaurants.
Francesca worked constantly, and Melinda would babysit little baby Kadriana.
Her busy schedule made it hard to date or have a social life.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you doing?
But soon, Francesca met someone special at work. Like Francesca, 31-year-old Martell Wooding had roots in Campbell County.
He grew up in that community.
Even though he'd gotten into trouble in the past, Martell was committed to making a fresh start.
I heard rumors that he was in jail before. So, of course, I went and asked my sister about it. And she said, yeah, that was true, that he had changed.
Francesca knew better than anyone that people can change, and she wanted to help Martell do just that.
Look, you got me.
Francesca had enough faith in Martell that soon she and her daughter were living with him. For Francesca, the most important thing about Martell was his relationship with Kadriana.
Hey, how you doing?
She said he's good to Kadriana. And to me, that's all that matters.
You ready to eat?
She wasn't about to let her daughter suffer the same type of abuse she had endured growing up.
There was no danger of that with Martell.
That's cool. He loved that little girl. He was all the time talking about the baby this, the baby that, you know.
Kadriana felt the same way about Martell.
She thought of him as a father. He treated her like his daughter.
By 2016, the family home grew to include Francesca's mother, Lynn.
My sister continued to live with my father until my father passed away. And then she moved in with Francesca and Martell.
Martell had rented a trailer that had plenty of room for everyone.
It was a real long trailer. It was a big trailer. It was 4 bedrooms.
When they moved in together, they were always happy.
But now, a week before Christmas, their trailer is engulfed in flames.
By the time the fire department got there, all they could do was try to keep the fire from spreading to the house next door.
As they struggle to get the blaze under control, anxious family members begin to gather.
When we get there, all I see was flames clean to the sky. Fire trucks.
It's terrible to sit there, and there ain't nothing you could do.
I kept on asking him where they were. Were they okay? Did they get out?
Every time I seen a fireman next to me, I said, have you seen my kid? Have you seen my family? They kept telling me, no, it don't look good.
But as the investigation unfolds, the tragedy is even worse than they can imagine.
When I got there, I do remember some gas cans being out in the yard.
I felt it was suspicious from the start.
Francesca Lane and Martell Wooding were building a life together in the small town of Gladys, Virginia.
Francesca and her daughter, Kadriana, settled into Martell's trailer, and they were one big happy family.
Martell became like a father to Francesca's daughter. They'd also given a home to Francesca's mother, 48-year-old Melinda Callahan.
My father passed away. And then she moved in with Francesca and Martell.
By December of 2016, the couple had been together for almost 2 years.
She seemed happy to be with him. So my first initial reaction was, wow, Francesca's finally found somebody. About time.
But now, on the morning of December 18th, Francesca, her daughter, and her mother have been found dead inside the burnt-out shell of their trailer.
I received a phone call to make me aware of a fatal fire where 3 people were found deceased.
I got on scene probably about 7 o'clock. A lot of the fire equipment was still there. A lot of family members had already arrived on the scene.
Hey, folks, how are you?
For the Campbell County Sheriff's Office, the case is personal.
I knew Melinda, the mother. I investigated an unrelated matter involving Francesca, where she was a victim of a crime back when she was a child.
Now the deputies face the smoldering remains of an even greater tragedy. And as they approach the scene, they notice a potential sign of foul play.
There were some gas cans on the ground outside the trailer, so police would wonder whether someone used them to start the fire.
Is it proof of arson or just a harmless coincidence?
Maybe that's where they kept them at, because a lot of folks do that, have gas cans outside their house and near their home.
Detectives hope to find an answer inside the trailer, but much of the evidence has already been destroyed.
The fire scene, from having hundreds, if not thousands of gallons of water on it, was a really big mess.
The trailer was burnt considerably, but it was still structurally intact for the most part.
Not far inside, Detectives find their first two victims.
Lynn and Francesca were found in the living room area of the mobile home.
The bodies were found on the charred frame of what had been a sofa.
The location of the bodies comes as a surprise.
This fire is raging in the home, but yet they're sitting side by side together on a sofa as opposed to trying to get to a door or get out of a window.
Police find Francesca's daughter down the hall.
Kadriana's in the back bedroom near a dresser there that had a 60 or 70-inch TV had been sitting on it, and that TV was on top of the little girl.
Even for seasoned investigators, the devastation is overwhelming.
It's bad enough to happen to adults, but when you see children done like that, it's horrific. You're going to see that the rest of your life.
How could it have happened?
So you start looking for fire sources, and we see a kerosene heater, and it has fell through the floor joist because the floors burn away, a lot of it.
We probably have more house fires during the winter when people are heating with these kerosene-type heaters.
Were Francesca and her family killed by arson or by a terrible accident?
It's unthinkable that someone could do something like this on purpose. And all at the same time, all it would take is the heater malfunctioning once for the fire to start.
Looking to pinpoint the cause of the fire, investigators turn their attention to the man who reported it, Martell Wooding.
Okay, all right, let's go. We took him back to the sheriff's office to get a formal interview with him.
Like the victims, Martell is no stranger to the investigators.
We ended up charging him several times with buying drugs. One of the last times, he got a sentence of 5 years in a penitentiary.
But Martell doesn't hold a grudge against the cops for doing their job.
He's always been pretty respectful to me, and I'll try to show him some grace, and he just starts talking to me, Tracy, man, I don't know what happened.
Martell tells detectives that although he's still paying the rent on the trailer, he actually no longer lives there.
He had been living there with Francesca, her daughter, and her mother. But a few weeks before, they broke up, and he had moved out.
He says that he still comes by sometimes to see Francesca and her daughter, Kadriana.
He thought of her as his daughter.
I'm the only one that took her until Francesca got out of work.
In fact, he had been at the trailer on Saturday night, just hours before the fire started.
Hey, Merry Christmas! Got a new TV!
Oh my God!
He had already gotten Kadriana her Christmas present before he and Francesca broke up, and he brought it over earlier that day.
It's amazing! Oh, I'm glad you like it.
Martell explains that he and Francesca parted amicably.
We hugged, we kissed, we talked. Because we agreed to just walk away, leave on a good note.
Martell says he had a special reason to stay on good terms with his ex.
He hoped that the breakup was only temporary and that he and Francesca would eventually get back together.
I've been trying to get her, let me get myself together, you get yourself together, and maybe we can try it again.
But he admits he hasn't been sitting around waiting for a reconciliation.
Martell said lately he had been hanging out with a woman by the name of Nettie Rosen.
In fact, he was on his way to see Nettie when he spotted the fire.
Her home is not very far from the crime scene.
Was it possible that she knew Martell was holding on to feelings for his ex?
If this was arson, jealousy could be the motive.
Detectives in Campbell County, Virginia are investigating the tragic house fire that killed Francesca Lane, her 7-year-old daughter, Kadriana, and her mother, Lynn Callahan.
By the time the fire was discovered and responders arrived, there was no chance to save them.
And now they've been told by the man who reported the fire, Francesca's ex-boyfriend, Martell Wooding, that he spotted the flames when he was on his way to see his new girlfriend.
He had recently started dating Nettie Rosen, but he was still seeing Francesca and her daughter regularly.
Investigators can't help but wonder if Nettie could have something to do with the fire.
No.
Martell was hoping to get back with Francesca, so that made her Nettie's competition.
But according to Martell, Nettie had been at a party in neighboring Lynchburg until late that night.
He said they had plans to meet up when she come back from that, and he knew it was going to be late, 2 or 3 o'clock.
Martell tells the detective that on his way to Nettie's house, he wanted to drive past the trailer.
But I want to peep over, See what's going on. Yes.
But when he turned onto the street, he saw smoke.
The mobile home was on fire. And he said, as soon as I pulled in driveway, I called 911.
Martell tried to save Kadriana, as well as her mother and grandmother.
I see a damn thing on this fire and smoke.
Oh, God.
I should have went in there.
Martell says he has no idea how the fire started, but he does have a theory.
Martell said he'd recently helped change the wick in the kerosene heater and that he knew that the heater had some problems.
Was the fire just a tragic accident after all? Or had Francesca's romantic rival, Nettie Rosen, decided to eliminate her competition?
Detectives noticed what clearly looked like signs of arson when they arrived on the scene.
They had to consider all of the possibilities, and right now, Nettie was the only one with a clear motive.
But what about Martell himself?
There may have been some bitter feelings between Martell and Francesca.
Maybe Martell had downplayed how amicable their split had been.
You have to look at the people who are very close to your victims or who may have a reason to do something this horrific to someone. Have you ever told her that you were going to do anything to her? Make threats or her, do anything?
No.
Martell insists he and Francesca were still friends, despite the breakup.
We left on good terms. We never leave on no bad terms.
But investigators aren't just going to take him at his word.
We need to take you close to leave here today if that's cool with you. They wanted to test Martell's clothing for any accelerants that could be used to start a fire.
While the clothing is sent out for testing, detectives return to the scene of the fire.
We're here to investigate the fire at your neighbor's.
One particular person said they was up sometime around 2:30 a.m. They heard an explosion.
And I heard an explosion.
Due to this description, detectives don't believe it was a malfunctioning heater.
Kerosene does not explode. Gasoline explodes.
You know anything about the relationship?
The detectives also ask if the neighbor knows about Martell's relationship with Nettie Rosen.
As far as they knew, Martell and Francesca were still together.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Hoping to learn the truth about Martell's relationship with Nettie Rosen, investigators track her down for an interview.
So I guess you heard about the fire last night.
Everybody's been talking about it. It's just horrible.
To start, Nettie is able to confirm that she is dating Martell.
They had just recently started seeing each other.
She also confirms what Martell told them about the night of the fire.
She had been at a party up in Lynchburg. She and Martell had been communicating about seeing each other later on after she got home.
In fact, she says that she was already driving home when Martell called her to confirm their plans.
Nettie was just coming home at the same time the fire was going on. In fact, she saw the rescue squad and fire trucks there when she came by.
To corroborate Nettie's alibi, the investigators compare her story with the timing of the calls from Martell.
Nettie's phone showed that Martell called her at around 2 a.m. that night.
To detectives, something doesn't add up.
The 911 call was called in at 2:37 a.m.
If she was already driving home from Lynchburg, she would have had to gone past Francesca's trailer before the 911 call reporting the fire. There's no way that the fire trucks could have been there.
You didn't stop anywhere last night on the way home, did you?
No, I just went home.
Sensing their suspicions, Nettie is adamant that she had no hard feelings towards Francesca.
She knew that he had been living right up the road with Francesca, but he is telling her that that was over and they were moving on from each other.
He would never go back to her because of what she did to him.
Nettie tells detectives that Martel wasn't the only one seeing other people.
Francesca was messing around with a guy named Mario Green.
They worked together at that restaurant up in Lynchburg.
But is Nettie just trying to protect herself?
Police weren't sure if Mario Green was a real lead or if Nettie was trying to lay a false trail.
Knowing that she was seeing someone else, we have to do due diligence and make sure we investigate any suspect.
Okay, thank you.
Back at the station, detectives run Mario Green's name through their database. Like Martel, Mario has a lengthy criminal history.
Mario had been in prison for some different offenses, some of them drug-related.
Given his background, the investigators were very interested in learning more about his relationship with Francesca and where he was the night of the fire.
But before they get the chance to sit down with Mario, they receive the autopsy reports from the medical examiner.
Our suspicions were confirmed.
There's no longer any mystery about why Francesca and her mother hadn't been able to escape the fire.
Francesca has suffered a severe blow to the head.
Lynn had succumbed to some injuries from a knife.
Lynn and Francesca were both already dead when the fire started.
Investigators in Campbell County, Virginia, have received the autopsy report showing that Francesca Lane and her mother were dead before the fire that engulfed their trailer started.
It showed that Francesca had been struck in the head area, and Lynn was beaten and stabbed.
Neither of them had smoke in their lungs either.
Lynn and Francesca's lab results had accelerants on their persons and their clothes.
But the medical examiner determines that the third victim, Francesca's daughter, Kadriana, was alive when the fire started.
Kadriana's death was caused by smoke inhalation.
Now there's no doubt investigators are dealing with a triple homicide. But the autopsies also call their prime suspect, Martel Wooding, into question.
Even if Martel had killed his ex-girlfriend and her mother, it was hard to imagine that he could have set Kadriana on fire.
Martel used to tell people that was his daughter. He treated her like his daughter. Lynn and him always said Martel was good to Kadriana.
The report also casts doubt on Martel's new girlfriend, Nettie Rosen, as a suspect.
Detectives could picture a jealous girlfriend setting her rival's house on fire, but they doubted that Nettie was capable of bludgeoning Francesca and stabbing her mother.
But the investigation has turned up the name of another possible suspect, Mario Green.
Francesca started dating a man named Mario Green who worked at the same restaurant she did, and investigators knew Mario had a criminal record.
Investigators contact Mario and ask him to come down to the station to meet with them.
Were you and Francesca close?
We were getting there.
It was obvious that he probably cared about this young lady.
But when detectives ask Mario where he was Saturday night, they spot a red flag.
He said that he was home alone, which wasn't unusual, but he was a little too insistent about being there.
Listen, I didn't leave the house the entire night, okay?
Sure, we hear you.
He was also kind of jumpy, like he was nervous about being interviewed.
Is it because he has something to hide?
Okay. He was a little bit jittery, but Mario also seemed genuinely eager to help the police.
Oftentimes, people you deal with, when they have stuff to hide, they will tell you to go get a search warrant if you're going to get my phone. And this was not the case with him. He shared a lot of information with us.
To prove that he and Francesca were on good terms, Mario shows the detectives a picture that she sent him on the night of the fire.
He even had the picture on his phone from that night that Francesca had sent him, a pink see-through nightie that Martel had just bought for her recently.
Why did she send you that?
Just flirting. We always text it that way.
Mario says he would never do anything to hurt Francesca, but he claims that Martel is a different story.
He told police that Martel was abusive.
He mentioned bruises on her, cuts on her. He had a picture on his phone where he had taken a plastic wiffle ball bat and put marks on her.
The investigators aren't sure if Mario's accusations against Martel are true.
He could have been trying to get even with the man he saw as a rival, or he could have been trying to cast suspicion on Martel just to divert it away from himself.
Hoping to shed more light on Mario's relationship with Francesca, detectives turned to the couple's co-workers.
We understand you're friends with Francesca?
Yes, I am. Francesca was especially close with one of her work friends, and she had confided in her about her relationship troubles.
Tell me what you and her have talked about directly.
Over the last, I would say, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks is when she kind of started opening up about it.
Francesca's co-worker says it wasn't Mario that was causing problems. It was Martel.
Francesca told her friend all about the trouble she was having with Martel.
She was upset. We could all tell she was upset.
Francesca told her friends she was fed up.
Francesca had had enough of the situation she was in with Martel. All of her co-workers had been telling Francesca to get away from him.
But Martel wasn't willing to let her go.
He was harassing her. He would call her at work just to scream at her.
She also confirms that verbal harassment was just part of the problem.
We were made aware of incidents involving domestic violence between Martel and Francesca.
I mean, we've seen the physical side of it. 4 to 6 months ago, black eye, her eye was split a little bit.
One of those altercations bore an eerie resemblance to the way Francesca died.
He poured kerosene on her and tried to burn her.
The intention was to set her on fire.
If he couldn't have her, no one could.
He had said that she needed to die. She was going to die.
Detectives in Campbell County, Virginia, have just been informed by one of Francesca Lane's co-workers that a few days before she died, her ex-boyfriend, Martel Wooding, had tried to set her on fire.
Francesca told some people he had poured kerosene on her and tried to throw a match on her. The match went out prior to it hitting her.
After talking to Francesca's co-workers, investigators contact Martel Wooding for another round of questions.
The detective started by telling Martel they'd heard rumors that his relationship with Francesca was abusive.
Martel admits that they'd had a lot of arguments throughout their relationship.
We and her been bickering for like a couple months, back and forth, back and forth.
Bickering?
Yeah.
But swears any talk about abuse is an exaggeration.
We had a heated argument, and I grabbed her by her hoodie.
He said he'd only pulled on her hoodie, but Francesca freaked out because of the abuse she suffered as a child.
She said she couldn't get over it because of everything that she went through her life with abuse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The detectives then asked Martel had he ever thrown kerosene on Francesca, and he even had an explanation for that.
He says he was trying to light their kerosene heater.
When you light it, it'll take forever to light.
Martel said he got frustrated and slammed down a container of kerosene, and some of the kerosene splashed out.
I think some did get on it, but it didn't get all the way on up.
The detectives didn't find this convincing, but they also couldn't prove that he was lying.
They decide to send Martel home and keep digging.
Francesca worked 2 jobs at 2 different restaurants, so there were more of her co-workers to talk to.
At Francesca's second job, they find another friend who she had confided in.
He claimed the kerosene incident wasn't the only time Martel had tried to kill Francesca.
A week ago, he choked her, smothered her with a pillow.
Francesca also told him about another incident, one that was literally shocking.
You cheating on me? She said she wanted to go get in the tub, and he took the electrical heater, then threw it in the water.
Once again, it was only luck that saved Francesca.
She said she barely made it out before it shocked her toes.
Did shock her toes? The heater had just landed in the water enough that she felt it tingling, but it pulled out the wall. That's how close she was to being electrocuted.
But had that had a longer cord or the outlet had been closer to the bathtub, that certainly could have been fatal.
Who was it? Who were you?
When she jumped out of the tub, terrified, Martell attacked her.
Tell me who he was.
He threw against the wall.
Even then, Francesca hadn't called the police.
Get off of her! Get off of her! Get out of here!
She always told me it's okay, everything will be all right. Don't do anything. She was scared, I guess.
But Martell's threats didn't stop.
She was trying to leave him alone, and that's when he like telling her that if he couldn't have her, nobody can.
He told her that he would make it look like an accident and nobody never would know.
At this point, investigators were certain that Martell had finally carried out his threat, but they needed proof before they could make an arrest.
On December 31st, 2 weeks after the murders, the investigators get access to Martell's cell phone records.
He showed up at the home just before midnight, and then sometime around 2:37, he calls 911. But in between midnight and 2:37 a.m., he leaves the home.
The records showed that he drove a few miles away, probably to his mother's house where he was living, and quickly returned.
He was back at the trailer long before he called 911.
Once we got those phone records, I knew we had Martell Wooding committing this crime.
Later that day, detectives bring Martell in once more. At the station, they confront him with what they've learned.
I opened up this map that had a pinpoint color-coded chart of his phone locations, his text messages, and his phone calls that day. From 12:07 to 2:36, your phone is hitting at the same place. At some point, you go back to your mama's house, and then we got you coming back again at 2:29. And then, of course, we know you down there when you call 911.
Faced with the evidence against him, Martell starts talking.
The first story he told was that he was having a sexual relationship with both Francesca and Lynn, and that he came there that night and they were fighting over him, and one of them stabbed the other one.
The investigators found his story ludicrous, but he was also admitting something very damaging, that he was in a trailer when they died.
As he talks, Martell realizes he's making things worse for himself.
He's sitting there and he's starting to rock in his chair, and I can see a vein in his head start popping, and I feel like something's getting ready to happen.
I didn't do nothing like this.
It was at this point that Martell stood up, started saying that he wanted to talk to his mother, making his way to the door.
I walk over and stand in front of him. I said, Martell, you know you can't leave. I said, I'm going to go ahead and put the handcuffs on you now.
Face to face with detectives, Martell makes a daring move.
He stands up, opens the door, and he starts to try to sprint, quickly leave. I grab a hold of him, and it takes 2 sets of handcuffs. I have to draw my weapon on him.
Investigators have confronted Martell Wooding with evidence placing him at the scene when Francesca Lane, her mother, and her daughter were murdered. But when they try to take him into custody, Martell flees the interview room.
I grab a hold of him. He drags me into a little small hallway. Get your tape out, Jordan. Get a hold of it. Get tape on that.
We were able to get him into custody inside my office.
Yeah, I told you I let you speak to your mom. We get him handcuffed. He's on his stomach on the floor.
Back in the interview room, Martell says he's ready to talk.
What happened when you got up there, dude? We go back in the room, and I talk to him for about another hour.
That's when Investigator Emerson was able to get a confession from Martell.
Martell admits that he was upset about Francesca wanting to end their relationship.
She had been trying to break it off with him, and he just couldn't accept it.
He began calling her, and as he called her 25, 30 times that evening, and she did not answer him. He said he was going down there to see if anybody was down there with his girl.
Martell arrived at the trailer around midnight.
He said they go in and sat on the sofa and begin to talk.
Baby, what's it going to take for us to get back together?
I sat there in bed for a long time. For a long time. It was about me trying to talk to her about being with me.
What, you see somebody else now?
No,
is that what it is?
Martell.
They began talking and arguing a little bit, and he jerks the phone out of her hand.
Give me my phone back.
He gets her phone. He sees where she's been texting Mario,
including the suggestive photo she'd sent earlier that night.
She had sent him a picture of this completely sheer see-through nightie.
How could you send that to him? I bought you that.
He says it enraged him and he completely lost. He said he begins to struggle with her and he hits her with something.
I just pick up something. I just lost it.
How many times you hit her?
With Francesca unconscious and bleeding, Lynn tried to intervene.
He began to fight with her and he picks up a butcher knife off the counter and stabs her 2 to 3 times in the chest and stomach.
I think that Melinda thought she could protect Francesca, and she tried, and she died doing so.
As for the fire, Martel has a ready excuse.
Martel claimed that during the struggle, both the candle and a kerosene heater were knocked over.
Then he said next thing you know, the entire place was on fire.
I did not set any fire. No, I'm not that damn cruel.
The investigators are certain he's lying.
Any modern-day kerosene heater has a safety valve, so I never believed for a minute the kerosene heater started any fire.
Based off the phone records, detectives know that 2 hours passed between the murder of Francesca and her mother and the 911 call reporting the fire.
He took those 2 hours to decide what he was going to do. I can only assume what was going through his mind. He had at least 2 bodies there dead.
First, he drove home to his mother's house.
He left for a short period of time. That arc showed his cell tower going on another road. That's when he went and changed clothes and threw all of his clothes away that had blood on them.
Then, Martel drove back to the trailer.
He had decided to try to cover up the murders by setting the trailer on fire and burning the bodies. So he put Lynn and Francesca on the sofa and poured gasoline all over them.
But Francesca's daughter was also in the trailer, in her bedroom.
I can only assume that prior to the fire that Kadriana was able to sleep through all this. She didn't hear the commotion going on.
The physical evidence shows that Martel intentionally killed the 7-year-old along with her mother and grandmother.
She had accelerant on her body. And my question was, did you just pour it on her while she was asleep and light the whole place on fire? Or did you smother her or do something else to make her so she couldn't get up and leave that bedroom? I think she...
Martel never admits responsibility for her death.
He says he didn't kill the little girl, but he did.
At the end of the interview, Martel is arrested for murder, but the case never makes it to trial.
A few months after the arrest, investigators received an unexpected call.
And my dispatch says, Tracy, you ain't gonna believe this.
Martel Wooding is dead.
He used some bedding or clothing he had and he hung himself.
He wrote a suicide note, but he never asked for forgiveness.
The suicide is a disappointment to the police working the case.
We had built this mountain of a case against him, and it was to never be heard. And we would have rather went to court.
But for Francesca's family, no trial could have delivered the punishment that Martel Wooding deserves.
He shouldn't have did what he did. He should have walked away.
I wanted everyone to see the monster he was. He deserved the justice of knowing that he got a trial and 12 people said he was guilty also.
I hope that this story gets out to other young women and older women, teenagers, and that it could help save somebody to recognize the signs of domestic violence and to get out and don't stand there and to reach out to someone, but don't reach out when it's too late to